Ladies, gentlemen, children, 12s, here we are, the last two games of the round. Bulldogs and Titans, obviously nothing too exciting here, especially when Fafita didn't go very well. And secondly, Fogs didn't play. So Toby Sexton, if you picked him up a couple of weeks ago, you've been very much rewarded with 138k in price rises and a couple of 70s. So I don't think I've seen a better start from a young fella in terms of fantasy scoring, but 34 tackles for one miss. Obviously threw plenty of traffic at him. 5 goals, try assists, 219 kick meters, 69 meters gain. Really, only 6 in negatives. An awesome start for the young fella. So good on him. If you picked him up, awesome. I wouldn't be looking to target him. Fogs will be back. He won't play anymore unless there's an injury to Taylor or anything like that. But that was good. If you own Josh Jackson, you had an awesome game from him. You have 62 in base, which was amazing. Try saver. And only 4 in the negatives with 2 missed tackles. He was awesome. Keep hold of him. He's doing really well. He's a nice price now, 680. Someone who has gained 130k this year, so he's been great. Fa'asulamala Awi with 62 in his 59 minutes with a try, so good to see him get over the stripe. He had a solid year. I don't know, I suppose you could say could be a lot better in terms of his output in the fantasy terms, but he's ended up with a 47.4 average over the first 20 rounds, which I suppose is where we were sort of hoping at least for him to be, over that first bunch of rounds. We were thinking at least in the 50s, but is what it is. Brian Kelly, someone who's also underwhelmed a little bit, but still averaging 37 and gained a little bit from his starting price. So we thought he'd probably gain about 100k or so and become a keeper, but unfortunately didn't end up happening for him at this stage. But a couple of tries there helps him for 56 this week. If you're looking down the line, Marzoot with a nice little one for 37k gain, 47 points for him. If you needed him to cover any of those positions this week, obviously didn't help that. It doesn't help that he's not a centre. Could cover Ramian. And then Averillo there with 45. So 278 kick meters was much better this week. And if we can see this going forward, then we should be able to keep him as a solid keeper in the centres there. Obviously losing another 28k, and he's down about 160, 70k from the last 4 to 5 weeks there, where he was literally scoring 70 plus every week. So if we can get 45 out of him, then we can hold steady. There's obviously been a bunch of injuries from these couple of games as well. Not exactly what we want, but is what it is. So that's that with Averillo. Fafita with 43. So coming off the bench again, it might just be what he's doing now. Only 2 tackle breaks, which is the killer. Obviously 175 meters for only 2 tackle breaks is not exactly what we want. And for a good portion of us that captained him, probably not the time to, probably not worth doing that anymore, especially if you got Tom Trbojevic getting 137, which we'll talk about in the next one. Not someone to worry about trading out or anything. He's averaging 71.4 still. Brimson with an okay game. Again, someone who's underwhelmed a bit this year, and hopefully next year he could be a nice cheap pickup for us. If you're looking down the line, someone like Elliott's going to be really cheap as well come next year. Peachy's losing a lot of money at the moment. So depending on where he plays next year or what role he's going to get, he could be fairly cheap around that 400k or so mark if he can if he maintains this. If you still own him, he definitely needs to be traded out or not played in your team at least. You have lost a lot of money, so you're not going to lose too much more. Just keep that in mind when you've got Peachy in your side and what you're going to do with him. So Flanagan, obviously, Averillo, they kicked more than Flanagan, which is great to see if you're an Averillo owner. Just think about that there. And that's about all from that game, guys. We'll roll on to our second one. And gee, that was an absolute demolition job from Tommy Boy. Sorry, the internet's slow today. So 137 breaks the world record for NRL Fantasy. I think he did in Supercoach as well, which is incredible. 3 tries, 3 try assists, 3 line breaks, 4 line break assists, 15 tackle breaks, and 4 offloads to go with 227 meters. Only the one negative stat, which was 1 error. So we'll allow it. And guess how many minutes? Just 67. What a freak, bro. He's incredible. I don't know what else you can say about that. Just literally tore Sharks apart. Who did end up scoring a fair few tries, and Trindle, who I spoke about as being a really good purchase this week, got the benefit of that. A couple of tries, a try assist there with the goals to go along with 488 kick meters. So he's going to be doing that for the rest of the year, I'd imagine. With Moylan being on the return, Tracy being around, there's really no one to take over that position as their dominant half. And Trindle, yes, he had an incredible game in terms of attacking stats, and I'd expect him to average somewhere closer to 50 over the next bunch of weeks. And yes, he's been special, and 81k rise for him. Morgan Harper with a couple of really good games in a row. 3 tries last week, 72 points and a try this week. 9 breaks, 18 tackles, 113 meters. You can't really ask for much more from him. If you held on to him this long, and maybe haven't been playing him recently, if you have a Ramian as well, then you got that nice cover from Harper. So that's that with him. Not much else. Not much more else to say. DCE was 60, so a solid game. A line break try assist, but really, Tommy did everything. DCE just controlled the game. Ran 110 meters, did his kicking, just did what he needed to do. He'll take the 60, still makes 9k, so you're not losing money on him at this stage. Ruben Garrick still comes out, loses 31k with his 57 after a lower one last week, but a try, 6 goals, couple of line breaks was perfect enough game for him. If you're owning him, then you're looking for these scores in the mid 50s every week because that's what he's priced at now. So keep that in mind. Will Kennedy had a really nice game for a team that got beat pretty well. Showed some nice speed for him, a couple of tries. So again, someone that's not too relevant. If you're sitting there with Schuster in your team, you take the 50 for sure. Got a line break, a couple of attacking stats with 4 tackle breaks, 3 offloads there, 155 run meters. There's not much else you could want or expect from Josh. That's all I can really say there on that one. If we're moving along, we got Olaquatu with 38 to Power. Had a bit of a shocker since we've a few people brought him in to their squads. Get rid of that. Olaquatu 38. Sipley there with 38 as well. And then you got guys like Fafita. God, he's going to get super heavy, bloody 228k pretty soon. Lockie Croker starting to lose a little bit of money now, but he's had an awesome year. In terms of the rest of the guys, you got Talakai playing the centers, didn't get to do too much. Saab's there, 27 with 2 tries is pretty poor. If you haven't traded him out yet, he's losing a fair bit of cash now after a few low ones in a row. Jay Trbojevic, 176k down on his scoring from previous years, and he'll be interesting one coming into next year if he's a low 500s type of player. What role is he going to play? Is he going to continue playing these 60 to 70 minutes? The involvement for him is a little bit less than it used to be, just with how the game's played. A little bit faster. He's doing a little bit more just distribution rather than carting the ball up because they've got so many great outside backs to do those hard sort of meters, and Jake can sort of do his thing and just lock up the middle. So it'd be interesting if he becomes a buy next year, but there's also a chance that he's just like starting to slow down a little bit in his scoring in terms of fantasy wise. If not, we'll see a lot of people buy him. Toby Rudolph with 41 minutes for 19 points was not ideal for anyone who picked him up a while ago. Carl Lawton, he very interesting one, become a really good buy there for a long time, and then he loses his spot and starts to play off the bench, and we're going to see him really drop in price over the next bunch of weeks. So again, if he can pick up a starting spot somewhere, let's keep that in mind for next year as to what he did this year, and go from there. But that's sort of the rundown for those 2 games, guys. I just want to make that a short, quick one there. Going through those 2 games to round off the week. We move on to round 21. Obviously, what I was going to mention was from the Dragons game in that other game. What was that on Sunday? From the game on Sunday. So the reason why he was doing so well is at the start because he was fine and then he got injured. So it looks like he might be out for about a month. So he'll definitely be a trade out. Unfortunately, if you don't have any trades, then that's an issue. But if you're sitting with 4 to 5, a good portion of the teams, then you can trade him out. But we'll work out with the team lists that are coming out this afternoon, and we'll go from there, team. Hope you enjoyed that. Catch you next one. Bye bye.